Hello and welcome to Life in the Mind, a neurodivergent podcast by neurodivergent people. I'm Murray Spear.
And I'm Joy Amy Wigman.
And we have with us today Danielle.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure whether you wanted to say it. I'll say it.
You can say it as well.
Yeah. Danielle Lade.
Hello, welcome to our studio of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's very cosy.
it's really cozy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, we haven't recorded for a while and I'm a bit like, I forget how cozy it is. Can I live here?
If you're listening to the audio version and you can't actually see, Danielle is wearing the most spectacular pair of dungarees.
And they were £4.
And they were £4.
I don't know why I'd say that.
Oh no,
But everyone-
that's really key information.
It's really
That is
key.
really key information.
I'm normally queen of dungarees. I'm wearing dungarees today, but they're just normal black dungarees. They're not my crazy sunflower ones
Oh yeah.
or my green corduroy ones.
I feel like one record I'll wear I have bright yellow bee ones.
What?
Oh,
How have we
what?
never
Yeah,
seen
these are my only
those?
pair of dungarees. Oh, they don't have a fly,
Oh.
and so it's a faff and a half. And if my brain's a bit like, my brain has to be really in ADHD mode to be like, yes, that's worth it. Otherwise, I'm like, I can't be.
You wear the
bothered.
bees, I'll wear the flowers. We'll just have like a spring special.
Oh, well, we could definitely do that Eastery kind of episode of just like wear eggs on our heads and yeah, it'd be great.
Or have bunny rabbits like hopping around the studio.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do it.
yeah, sure. That's
Sorry, Danielle.
fine.
This happens sometimes.
Neurodivergent people.
Yes, welcome to Life in the Mind. It is Life in the Mind of Danielle Lade. So, what should we start with? I guess we would start with what we normally start with, which is, what is your relationship to neurodivergence?
Well, so it's a strange one, really. So I'm autistic and epileptic, and the two of them seem to go hand in hand. They're like bedfellows.
They're best buds.
Yeah. So it wasn't until I was pregnant when the epilepsy flares at hormonal times, which is probably not the proper way of saying it. But when I was a teenager, then when I was pregnant, and then now again through menopause. And that's when I was pregnant, my epilepsy nurse said, "Have you ever been tested for autism?" And I was like, "How very dare you?" But then she was very kind and sort of explained it all to me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, no, that sounds familiar." So
You're part of the late diagnosed club.
yeah, because as a child I was just weird.
You're
That was the
still weird,
diagnosis.
it's
Yeah,
all right.
that was the diagnosis as a child. Just odd, like, Danielle's doing something off on her own again.
I definitely feel that.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think as a girl, it's always put down to, oh, well, she's quiet, so we'll leave her be in the corner making up little shows on her own.
She's
Yeah.
picky. She's fussy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the things I was told at my assessment day was that one of the reasons I was missed was because I had a classically female presentation of autism. And it was
really?
like, well, that's nonsense in itself. That's very weird in
Yeah.
itself. And that, that shows it's weird. But then they like talking about it and I did some research and I was like, oh yeah. So it's all of the things that are expected historically, societally, and culturally about women. Women should be seen and not heard, and all that kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's very weird.
A bit, and I find that a lot of people will not want or we'll talk about like, oh, why does everyone have to have a label? And I'm always a bit like, well, you were happy giving me the label of weird.
Yeah.
So could I at least look into the label that helps me find
Yeah.
ways of making my life easier?
It's a really good point, actually.
And
Yeah.
because I
really like
had
that.
bouts of, like I used to be able to mask much better. Since this recent bout, I don't know if that's the right term, bout of epilepsy, I haven't been able to mask very well at all. And I've really gone sort of introverted. But I found it really interesting that labels that people put on. So when I was, I'm saying this really badly, but as a 20-year-old in my 20s, I could mask really well. You'd have thought I was a real sort of party goer, organised all the nights out and things. But that wasn't necessarily better, but I think it would have been seen as, oh, good, she put that way. She's being a bit more normal now.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting with it sort of flaring, if that's a word. It is a word.
Yeah.
But it might not be an appropriate one.
No, that makes sense.
So how did getting an autism diagnosis how did it affect your relationship with yourself? How you felt about yourself?
I think I was pregnant, and it was a pretty hectic pregnancy, I think is the politest way to put it. And so there was so much going on. I think it hasn't been until now really it's not been until my late 30s that I've really processed it. I think I sort of put it aside and was like, okay, that's good to know, but the babies are growing and I should probably focus on that. So it's taken me a long time to sort of open up about it to myself. But it helps. It's really helped. It's I think the later I've left it, the longer road I've created, which has been sort of difficult to navigate.
Yeah.
But it did really help. It made me really feel for that young girl who was maybe left out of things because she was doing something odd, or it made me really feel, I think there could have been ways I could have had support. And my family are great. They're really supportive. I think there are certain members of my family who could probably do with labels themselves. Might help them, but
I think we all feel that way, right?
Yeah, like it's come from somewhere. Yeah, I think if there were certain ways I could have been not dealt with, that's an awful way of putting it, but I think if there were certain things that could have maybe been put in place, or even just being able to speak openly about how I was feeling, because at the time there were certain things that I found difficult, but that I knew were wrong.
Yeah.
Like, well, I shouldn't talk about that because you just have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Whereas knowing now more about it, it feels a bit more like, oh, I could probably have, that could have been easier to be dealt with.
I know that. Sorry, you go.
When you kind of got to that point of opening up to yourself about it and allowing yourself to move into that, did you then kind of come out to other people in that way of as neurodivergence once you were giving yourself that space? Yeah. Was there a moment when you went, hello guys, I'm not just weird, I'm weird, but I'm also,
There's also something else going on. No, not really. I've spoken, my husband was like, you reckon? So he's been just a real pillar of, he's my rock. He's just I'm like, oh, I think that this is going on. And he's there in the corner like, yeah, it is. I've been telling you that for months. But I don't really talk about, I don't know. I haven't really. I think maybe because I haven't fully come to terms with it all myself, don't understand it all myself. And like I say, my family is great. There's certain things about me that they accept. So I think because I haven't had a difficult relationship with them, I think if maybe I'd found it difficult, something like, well, you have to understand this would be really helpful. Whereas for me, I found, although saying that, for the last year, I have been pretty agoraphobic. So I haven't really I've not been going to things. I haven't been seeing people apart from my family. And then this isn't funny at all, but my dad had several cardiac arrests in the summer and died. And so I relocated to Sussex where he was. And so that was going on. So I think it's been a year. So I think that's kind of interrupted things as well. I'm not blaming him, but it has really sort of affected the year.
Life gets in the way.
Yeah.
Life does get in the way.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It presents all of these different, all these different curveballs and stuff that then change how we're interacting with our lives, ourselves, and what we can process. Because when you find out, when one goes, oh, wait, actually, this is going on.
Yeah.
There's so much to process there. Like you were saying, if the later it's happened, the longer road you've got.
Yeah, and it's a longer road that you've made, but sort of with bricks that, that sort of fits there and that sort of fits there. So like there are so many things that you have to sort of go right back and go, hang on a minute, that takes time.
Yeah,
and I think I'm still in that mode of, right, hang on, let me sit on the sofa with a blanket, rewatch Grey's Anatomy, and just sort of process all those bricks that I'd put in the wrong place. And
well, that's what I was going to say is, like you said, you've not really been going out. But you've seen like your family and stuff.
yeah.
But do you see, is that necessarily a bad thing? Is it that you're giving yourself the space to process and what you need right now? Because I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves that we have to be living life the way society decides we should be living life. And sometimes I think that has a detrimental effect on people. Like productivity is what gives us value. I would love to sit on the sofa for a day and watch Supernatural. And just feel like at the end of the day that I hadn't wasted my day.
Yes, that's the thing, isn't it? You get to you have a day like that, and then you think, oh gosh, I've done it wrong. Like I'm doing this wrong. I should have been. And I have a couple of, not a couple, that's doing them a disservice. I have a few really good friends who have been really, some of whom are talking to Tom because I get a text and I think, oh gosh, it's been so long and I haven't replied, and they're going to be mad because I haven't replied, and I can't even arrange a meetup because I really don't feel like it, getting, and then it all like piles on and piles on and piles on. And then Tom is messaging them and going, she's struggling a bit at the moment. And my short-term memory, oh my goodness. And I think that's the epilepsy or the medication or the menopause. I'm not quite sure.
Mixture of all three.
Yeah, mixture of all that. Yeah. But it's terrible. My concentration levels, like trying to find the right words. So my method of communicating with people is totally different now than it used to be. And I think part of it is a real fear that if I communicate with those people that were in my life, maybe they'll be like, oh, you're different now and we don't want you. And I have such a fear of rejection that I don't respond. Then I feel bad about not responding. Then I get really stressed out. And then before you know it, oh my goodness, I've missed that occasion. But it was a big occasion. So I like the idea of going to it. But I do have like a couple of friends that are literally communicating with Tom being like, oh, just tell her that, thinking of her, and or like my youngest daughter's namesake messages my husband. Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting like upset about it. But I wish I could kind of communicate better. But it's changed. It's definitely changed. And then I've got a few friends who I am communicating with, I think because just on a really lucky timing, they were sort of, I was able to talk to them about certain things, and they didn't need anything from me. I wasn't going to an event or anything. We mainly just send memes back and forth, and talk about spicy beers, like finding weird tasting beers, which is odd because I don't drink beer. But we have like a little group, and it's very safe. It's on WhatsApp. It's very safe. If I don't respond for like 4 days, that's fine. Yeah. I know if I message again, I'm not going to be in trouble. So it's the communication, I think, because when I'm not able to mask how I'm feeling, I find it very difficult to like, how do you return?
Yeah.
How do you go back? Because you've suddenly I feel like I've abandoned things.
Yeah.
And so how do I dip my toe back in without being like, sorry, I don't know. Sorry.
That's all right. We can be.
Okay.
Yeah. When the world, you have this very easy to look at the world in that kind of way of if they know my masks, if they know me as this person,
Yeah.
how will they take
How will they react?
the rest of me? Or like the things behind the mask. And that's
It's
terrifying.
like a carousel as well. So like the world is like a carousel. It never stops turning. But if for some reason you've been flung off it, it's still moving, and it's still moving at such a pace that the idea of running to get back on it, you think, I'm not going to be able to do that without breaking a bone.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it'd be great if the world would just pause for a moment. Can I just get off, take a breather, then get back on the spinning carousel?
Yeah.
There are people who've been very important in my life, and every like few months I will message them and be like, I haven't seen you in ages. But the thought of going back into that relationship and having them have to see me as the person that I am now, rather than the person that they knew me as, is really daunting.
Yeah.
And really frightening. But equally, I have a friend who I would say was my first openly autistic friend, who got diagnosed in her 40s, the same week she found out she was pregnant. And so we met up after I had my discovery. And she was great. The first thing she said was, welcome to the club. And like treated it as a celebration and stuff. Yeah. But I've not seen her in a year because I have this imposter thing of, am I autisming right? Am I valid enough? I'm coping with life. I can go to work. Most days I can wash and brush my teeth. Am I valid? Am I even valid? Yeah. So it's both the dealing with the new life and trying to connect with the old one. I think it's tricky.
And I think there's a real, I think for me, I find a real difficulty to separate. So the epilepsy is uncontrolled at the moment. And so if I go out, I might have a seizure and fall downstairs, or I might not be able to control my bladder if it happens during, so there's these things. So I'm kind of terrified of going out anyway. And so it's just added I'm like, not only am I not the sort of organising nights out type organiser, let's all do a 13-mile hike for something or other. I'm not that person, but if you invite me around, I might wet myself. So guys, please, where are the invites? So I think there's such a wild, and like Tom at the moment, my husband at the moment is essentially my carer, because there's I was carrying some bowls from the dishwasher to the cupboard, dropped them because I had an absence. Then got like cuts on my hand, and then came to and was like, oh, what have I been doing? And so he's been really helpful. I'm terrible at remembering to take my medication, terrible at remembering to eat, all of these things. And so it's really weirdly merged with also dealing with, although maybe because I'm at home so much, because of that, I'm then dealing with that, if that makes sense. So I'm only really dealing with it because the epilepsy sort of forced me to stop. And so that now I've stopped and I'm faced with, this is who you are.
Which weirdly will probably segue nicely into our next episode.
Yeah, we talk about how multiple different things can affect each other and coexist.
Yeah. So our other conditions and how they affect our neurodivergence in various ways. It's been so lovely talking to you, Danielle.
And you too. Thank you very much for having me.
Going to have a nice cup of tea now.
Yes, that sounds good.
How about you guys? So obviously we've talked a lot about leaving an old life behind and how we stay connected. How do you guys connect to your like pre-discovery to your post-discovery?
How did you handle that kind of transition between those almost phases of your life?
Drop us a comment or an email, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Okay, folks, that's it for this episode. Find us on Instagram at life.inthemind. Our other socials are linked in the bio. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Bye!